memo where they actually dropped a couple of charges from Diddy's case. They announced they no longer want to on attempted kidnapping, aided and abetted trafficking, attempted arson. Now, they also did something pretty smart to me. The government has also attempted to simplify the language in the latest account law. Because the government understands, Brad, like this RICO is pretty complicated, especially when they're essentially amplifying the case. Because you could have simply charged a felony here and there and kept it. So bringing it back to RICO, they are really overreaching.
What the fuck, Top? What the fuck is someone?
If you're not like a large expert, so they have tried to simplify it so that the jury can have clear instructions on exactly what they're doing.
Oh shit.
What does this mean? Let's go over the practice of it. Probably the famous celebrity attorney. He done spanked the feds, he done spanked the state a couple of times. So let's explain exactly what the video was that.
We saw Diddy. Very, very interesting stuff going on, in my opinion, on this case. The government has dropped several of the allegations for the counts, things of that nature. The arson is zero proof of. I can't even believe they allowed testimony on the arson. Absolutely no proof of the arson and the 911 that was burned down to the ground or whatever was happened to that car. And the kidnapping. Again, the lack of evidence, the lack of proof, the lack of organization that they actually put these things into an indictment, use that indictment to keep him and hold him, make these allegations so that he shouldn't have bond, make all these allegations so he shouldn't have bond.
Since you're doing free, you
shouldn't
know.
be granted bond. He was ready to self-surrender. It was kind of a joke on that side of it. And we're going to see how this all shakes out, see what the jury does. They dismissed one of the jurors because they thought that he wasn't being truthful for where he lived. I thought that was an overkill. I thought they should have kept him on the jury, especially because he was African American, and I think that's what the prosecution wanted to do, was get rid of him. But we're going to see where this all shakes out. I don't think this is a clean sweep. I think the RICO case is a stretch, the sex trafficking. I think they could walk him on if they really thought about it. I think it's a John that has a good guy. And this is going to be the closing. He's not a good guy, but is the things that he was doing criminal, or were these things that individuals wanted to do on their own volition, get paid $10,000 to show up and have sex with Cassie, where she was arranging most of the engagements, even without Diddy there. I actually was able to speak with one of the, I guess, prostitutes in this case, where he called my office to discuss some things. He's got a new book coming out, and I'll follow up with what he had to say. Everything that's not attorney-client privilege.
Even the most optimistic Diddy defender ain't so delusional that he's about to sweep the case 100%. He's about to sweep the fence. Diddy about to be found not guilty on every count and every charge. It's not happening, bro. Get that thought process out your mind. If you're a Diddy, you gotta sit down and realize, yo, I'm gonna be found guilty. I want that RICO. I just don't want that egg trafficking. If you can live with the transportation for prostitution, you can live with that. That's like 5 years, I think, 5 to 10. Diddy is facing a life sentence right now. He'll be happy with 5 to 10. I don't think Diddy is getting anything less than 10 years. That's from my perspective. And
I think he's only gonna get anywhere 5 to 8.
Prosecutors understand. See, the prosecutors ain't going into this like all or nothing. No, the prosecutors are simply instructing the jury during the closing statement. You don't need to think that we are honest people. You don't need to think that we told 100% of the truth. If you believe that just one of the three was not consensual,
that's not true though. It was consensual. It wasn't coerced.
Let's take a look at
they did that shit that they wanted
so
to
you
do.
could really see, man. When they trying to nail Diddy to the pulpit on anything.
Money, power, influence.
Money, power, respect. Yeah. You see the light. You need the light. Ah, this shit.
Play like the Gaudis. Music bubble like Diddy. The law is the law. Diddy broke it over and over again. He said. In the 4 closing argument today. Assistant U.S. Attorney Steve Slavic real easy for this jury. She told them they don't even believe it. Prosecutors have laid out over these last 7 weeks. She said it only takes one single free cost. Force, or fraud, or coercion. She said equals
something needs to be done here, man. About the feds, the state, the prosecutors weaponizing corruption. They've done it to a lot of people. The RICO charge was not invented for people like Diddy. It was invented for mob bosses. It was invented for an organized crime ring. Now for people like Diddy, it's now being used when they can't nail you to the cross on something. Even just arson. They have no proof whatsoever that Diddy is involved in Kid Cudi's car being burnt up. Even Kid Cudi testified when he confronted Diddy by Diddy saying he don't know what he's talking about. There's no fingerprints, no evidence, no nothing, no text exchange, nothing at all. However, they're bringing a RICO out because they can say, yo, we believe that he paid somebody to do it. There's no evidence tracing back to who he paid, but he paid them. And here's why. This is a series of events that took place, created up a narrative and a story. Otherwise, you're going to you this man paid, when he paid them, how he paid them with. With a RICO, you don't. You just got to prove that the person who did this could have been acting on behalf of it. Prosecutors understand that as a man, if you're a juror on this Diddy trial and you're over 50 years old, you're a seasoned, you understand that's a slippery slope and that's not right. Which is why the prosecutors are going out of the way to say, hey man, even if you think man the racketeering is BS, don't forget about the other charges though.
The media is lying people those costs with drugs. This way to equal the thing she said. The prosecuting system used his employees to keep the cocaine, the ketamine, the ecstasy, and the other drugs flowing so that free cop participants awake and compliant. And she said that he also allegedly used those same assistants in security staff that an old school mob boss might recognize. Crimes like kidnapping. Here are the cases that the prosecutor actually laid out. She said that Cassie Ventura was forced to stay in a hotel for a full week in 2009 until her bruises were no longer visible after being beaten by Diddy. And then an ex-Diddy employee named Capricorn Clark was kidnapped twice. Once
Man, she wasn't, man. These fucking people lying, bro. She was kidnapped. What a fucking kidnapped, man. You went with that motherfucker.
Himself, they said, while on a mission to kill the rapper Kid Cudi, who was dating Cassie at the time. For another racketeering crime. Arson. Prosecutors said Diddy's alleged firebombing of Kid Cudi's Porsche certainly does count, as does bribery. When the prosecutor reminded the jury of the $100,000 that Diddy of Cassie being beaten senseless under arrest.
And it didn't even work.
As far as the
He still got out.
the government told the jury that just because Cassie and Jade may have been willing in some of the free costs does not mean they consented to all of them.
How does one figure out or determine
Which one did they were, right?
they didn't consent to?
Which one?
Is it their word versus his? Because the mill escorts came and they said when they were engaging with Cassie, they didn't see any signs of that she didn't want to do this. She was engaged. She was aggressive. She was actually enjoying
She wants to call in.
Messages that show Cassie was something engaging with this. Cassie was paying them. Cassie was asking, yo, who's going to do it the next time? Mm-hmm. Now they're claiming they were only appearing to be, I guess, happy to these free gloves because they wanted to give Diddy, which was their boyfriend at the time, a good experience. But when you have nothing but messages of Cassie enjoying this, never expressing that she feels forced to do this, the escorts are saying that she was having a good time. Well, at what point do Cassie was forced into this? Cassie was forced into this. Where? Their logic and what they're claiming is proof that Cassie, on at least one occasion, didn't want to do these free golf. is the video where Diddy is beating up Cassie at the Intercontinental.
But you can't use that because you don't even know about that's why that's the reason why.
Know that he put his hands on her. And do you think that she would consent 100% of the time to a man who put his hands on her? Again, Diddy is a garbage human being. Diddy is terrible. Diddy is horrible. I wouldn't want to go to dinner or lunch with Diddy. I wouldn't want to grab coffee with Diddy. Diddy wouldn't be in my friend group at all. But to me, at this point, is he said, she said, bro. And I don't feel like that should be enough to send a man to jail for the rest of his life.
And they said it only takes one. If they didn't consent to one, then it's sex trafficking, then it's forced labor. Did he refuse to take no for an answer, the prosecutor said, and rarely in his adult life did he have to. But now, she said, it is time to hold him accountable. And believe me when I tell you, I have literally just